Taking a look at GameStop stock, we have an upward trend support line right here, a downward trend resistance line right here, a horizontal resistance line right here. So just to illustrate, horizontal resistance, it went up, got knocked down, went up, got knocked down right here. Downward trend resistance line, went up, got knocked down multiple times, trying to break through it right now at the moment. Upward trend support line that started off as resistance first, you can see right here back in August of 2020, and then it acted as support. Then on after, starting in September 2020, yes, a false breakout right here, but it was evident bounced off later on in January of 2021. Now the question is, what is the play gonna what is the movement gonna happen moving forward? What levels do we need to break? How high will it go? Is there going to be a potential squeeze? Additionally, moving forward, closed at $162.52 as of August 13, 2021. And right now, for the time being, in terms of short positions, if you go to Yahoo Finance, GameStop statistics, go right here. In terms of shorted position shares for floated shares, percentage-wise, it's 17.26%. I believe the last reported time frame, July 15th, was roughly about 18%. So it has dropped a little bit. Shorted position percentage out of 4 outstanding shares is at 10.31%. The difference between floated shares and outstanding shares is floated shares does not include restricted shares, and outstanding shares does include restricted shares. Now, to be considered extremely shorted, it has to be above 20%. Right now, it's a little bit under. It's still heavily shorted, but not considered extremely shorted. But that depends on if there are naked shorted share positions being executed for the GameStop. If it is, it could be enough to be still in extremely shorted territory. Again, like always, the reason why that's important is the more the stock is shorted, yes, it is a bummer because it brings down the stock overall while it's getting shorted. But the plus side is if the price increases dramatically to the upside, it sometimes puts enough pressure for whoever's shorting to decide to cover based off the risk tolerance. What I'm trying to state is, for example, actually let me go over this with a little bit first with the upward trend support line and downward trend resistance line first in terms of the price points that need to be broken, and then I'll explain this upward horizontal limit right here for the time being. So like I said, the upward trend support line right here, and then the downward trend resistance line. This downward trend resistance line was started originally in May 28th, 2021, if that's the exact date. This is a 6-month chart, so it's a little bit compressed for the time being. It exceeded it, and then it bounced off as support, and then got knocked down underneath it again, and then prevalent that we were getting knocked down as a downward trend resistance line after the fact. So went up to it, got knocked down, went up to it, got knocked down, knocked down, knocked down. So multiple touch points, all that stuff. Now the question is, by the time we meet this upward trend support line, downward trend resistance line, it's pretty much at the end of August. So I don't see anything going to happen until, for the most part, end of August. And what I'm expecting is a breakout to the upside, and I'll explain why as well further into this video. The levels that need to be broken first right now, if you were to spike up dramatically right off the bat, is about it's saying $179.50 or something like that, but it's essentially 180 as well, because it plays a role into the psychological number where those are the clean numbers. Clean numbers are usually psychological numbers that are hard to pass. So $179 to $180 price point. But even if that does happen, the problem is you're going to be fighting with this moving average right here that will act as a resistance, not guaranteed, but potential, which is around $186, $185 price point. Even after that, you're not out of the neck of the woods because we have multiple horizontal resistance levels between the price point range of $189 to $226 price point. Like I've talked in the past, $226 is a significant level to pass, let alone $189 to break through to begin with. So once you break through the $189, which almost is close to the $186 price point or $187, whatever this moving average might be whenever it gets met, because it does move with the stock as well. Keep that in mind. So 189 to 226 is the ballpark that needs to be passed. There are multiple levels above that, but the main concern is right here. So let's just say, or I'll get back, or yeah, okay, if you wanted to spike up right now, hypothetically, and break through this level, you're looking to break between $335 to $345 price point. There's a chance it might not even make it. It'll hit 333 or 330, but around that ballpark. There is another level that's going to be met. It's not this level right here. I don't think it's going to be seen personally, and I'll explain why as well. Now, right now, we're at the $160 price point. Like I've mentioned in the last video, there's a lot of resistance between the 160 to 170 range and a lot of resistance at the 170 range. Plus, this moving average could knock you down at 167, give or take. Once that gets passed, you're going to be doing pretty well. I think over time, this downward trend resistance line, in my opinion, is going to be passed. And I'll explain why right now. So if we go to the 1 year chart, right about here, we are coming from extremely sold territory or oversold territory in a way, and it's starting to increase. Plus, that is reflected as well in the MACD line right here. So this indicates if it's a bearish or bullish movement. For the time being, in terms of the 1 year movement, it is positive, it is bullish, so it is optimistic. For me, with the oversold territory, coming from an oversold territory, plus the MACD line crossing over to positive and becoming a bullish movement, plus the meeting the upward trend support line with a downward trend resistance line shortly, I think this is almost like a triple threat where the stock is shorted just enough to have all these three move up to the positive momentum to the upside. Now, the reason why I think, for example, let's just go to the 6 month chart again. The reason why I think this is going to be a cap right here is because the stock was shorted over 100%, then like 50, 60, then 40 and all that stuff. Now, if you account for the raw data, not the naked shortage stocks, because the problem is it's so hard to tell how much naked shortage stocks or shares are being shorted in naked shorts, right? If you're looking at just the raw data, personally, I think this might be hypothetically the last run up. Now, I know this is not the popular opinion kind of stuff in a way, but I just want you to be aware, potentially, just be careful that this might be the last one. It's not a guarantee though, because AMC stock has been shorted at 15% at one point and had a massive run up by itself. So again, it is still heavily shorted, but I'm just saying be careful because hypothetically this could be the last run up where it goes up to the $335 or $333, $330 to $345 price point, because we've seen multiple times it went up to it right about here on June 7th, if I'm not mistaken. This is the 6 month graph, a little bit compressed, so the date might not be exact, but June 7th, 2021, and went up to it again on March 10th, 2021, and multiple times right here where you could see it was trying to pass it, could not pass it. Now, if we go to a closer extent, because this is more important, not more important, but important as well, you can see right about here, there is 2 times that went up to the $380 range, give or take, plus or minus, like basically essentially the $380 range. So what I'm trying to state, and I guess 354 as well, if you go more closer to the specifics right about here. So there's going to be a $354 ceiling, 354, 355 to the 380, 381. If you want to hold out to that, I wouldn't blame you. I think that's fair game to hold off to that as well. I just personally don't think the stock is shorted enough to see the 400. It's weird. It's stating $483 right here as the 52-week high, but I myself saw it past 500 as well. If you look at the graph right here, it's indicating that hit 500, and I don't think it hit 509, but I think it was like $503, $504 as well. I personally don't think that we'll see that. Unfortunately, it's just too much stuff has happened during that time. It should have went higher personally, but it just too many things got intertwined. I should have released a video during that time because the servers were knocked down. There's so many things that happened in Robinhood. Personally, I don't think that was fair. But either way, I just don't think it's shorted enough to pass that level anymore. But I do believe, in my opinion, quick disclaimer before I continue, not a financial advisor, not a professional. Everything I do share with you is just my opinion. It is not advice. So please do your own due diligence and research before buying and selling. Now, again, like I was going to state, in my opinion, I think we will see potentially one more spike up again. Is it a guarantee it will be that high? It's hard to tell. But I think with the combination of how much it's shorted, relatively 17%, plus with the graph like I stated, where the MACD line is crossed over to the positive, plus we're coming from an overly shorted territory, plus the support line, all stuff mixed in, I think we'll bump into the 300s again. It is a risky statement to say, but I think it is doable. And one more thing, if we were hypothetically to drop right now, these are the support levels for the most part that you could kind of bank on. So coming from $162 price point, there is support between the $155 to $150 range. If you were to drop like a rock right now on this support level right here, you're looking at support at $143 price point. Now keep in mind, as the days go by, the support level, this upward trend support level, the low will become higher, if that makes sense. So you'll have higher lows. So if you were to drop down later on, it would be $149 price point, so on and so forth. So right now, if you were to drop like a rock, you'd probably bounce off this moving average right here, $158. But then, like I stated, $150 to $155, and then this upward trend support line at $143 price point, and so on and so forth. And then after that, you have multiple support levels, but I'm banking on relying on this upward trend support line. If anything drastic happens, I'll keep you posted, and we'll go from there. But for the meantime, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you liked it. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask. I'll try to answer them as soon as possible. If you like the video, consider dropping a like. It does help out the channel, so thank you so much for that. If you like this video or other stock videos or other financial videos that I'll be posting on in the future, consider subscribing so you'll be notified when I do upload those videos. That's basically it. Thanks again for watching. Appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.